Always
Okay.
learning.
So let's get started then.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to English Without Borders. And today we are very happy to host Maureen Rooney. And today she will be talking about using poetry to develop reading and writing skills. So welcome, Maureen, to our webinar series. And we are very happy to host you today. And dear audience, please hurry up and join via Zoom and Facebook and be actively engaged in this webinar. And of course, you can leave your questions and comments in the chat box or in the comment box. So we'll be forwarding them to our speaker today. And let me just briefly introduce Maureen to our audience today. So Maureen Rooney is an English-speaking nation coach in Uzbekistan, and she was an associate professor in the Modern Languages Department at the University of Rhode Island and an English language fellow with the Secretariat of Education in Mexico. She focuses on helping teachers create more student-centered classrooms. She has a master's in education, TESOL, and in master's in Spanish. And Maureen has twice awarded Teacher of the Year in Rhode Island while teaching ESL students in Rhode Island. Maureen also redesigned teacher education programs in Rhode Island and has been working in education for over 25 years. So taking into consideration this huge teaching experience of Maureen, I welcome all of our participants, to ask their questions, during the webinar and afterwards, and use this opportunity to learn first-hand experience from Maureen. So with this and with great pleasure, I would like to give the floor to Maureen. So Maureen, welcome once again to English Without Borders, and the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I love sharing what I've done and learned and developed over the course of my time in education. And I have taught young children all the way through university. So if you have questions about how to adapt any of the activities, please feel free to ask me. I think I'm just going to start, if that's okay. Jump right in. I'm going to share my screen. Poems. That's what it's going to be about today, using poems and poetry in your classroom. We will actually be working together, or you will be, on reading and talking about a poem and showing your understanding of the poem, with the hopes that you will then use the same activities in your classroom, maybe with different poems. So we'll talk about strategies to scaffold the reading as well, and different ways to assess understanding. So that's the objectives for today, is all about using poetry in your classroom. So why poems? I love poems. They're short, they're easy to read. The rhyming words help students figure out how to pronounce the word without necessarily being told, oh, this is how you say it, because there's a rhyming pattern. And those rhyming words actually also create connections with familiar and maybe a new word. When you read poems, you have to be aware of syllables. When you write poems, you have to be aware of syllable count. It takes into so many different, when you read and write poetry and assess poetry, you're covering so much with the grammar that you normally don't. Things like syllables, like I've said, the rhyming words, meter, rhythm, all of these things that are so important to help students with pronunciation, their speaking, sounding maybe more like a native speaker. Not that that's always the end goal, but it does definitely help. And it's a way to express themselves freely, because not all poems have to follow grammar rules, which is a workbook or a textbook, and it's long, long, long. Poems, they're short, they're easy. Students will say, oh, I can handle this. So that is the main reason for me to use poems. All right. So we want to make sure our students want to read the poem or the text, whatever it might be. For that to happen, we need to do some things before they even read. So before the students even start to read, whether it's the poem or a paragraph or a textbook, whatever it might be, there are some steps we need to take. And here they are. We need to do some background support. I'm not going to go into too much details because I want you first to write in the chat, what do you have students do before reading a text, whether it's a poem or something in your textbook? This tells us why we're doing it, but what do you have? You guys are all teachers. If you could write in the chat, what do you do with your students before they read a text? Let's get some answers from you. So before you hand students something to read, what do you do? Ah, very good. Yes. Nice. I think it's Mary. You pay attention to difficult words. Perfect. Yes. Prediction. Great. Vocabulary. Yes. Great. Predicting what might happen, maybe looking at pictures. Nice. Vocabulary is very important. All right, so you guys have some pronunciation. Yes, activating prior knowledge, working with new words. Great. And that's the kind of stuff that we're going to do today. So you guys know all of this stuff already, which is awesome. Thank you. So we're actually going to do some of that today. I think I may have skipped a slide. No, I did not. Okay. So I always like to say, okay, what are we looking at? What is the type of text? Is it fiction? Is it nonfiction? Is it fantasy? Is it a poem? Obviously for us today, it's going to be a poem. I will ask the students to look first for words they don't know. I, as the teacher, have already prepared a list, but maybe they know some of those words and I didn't realize it. And definitely, as you guys said, is activate that background knowledge and make it relevant. So I'm going to ask you to do that. Really quickly, what type of text is this? Put your answer in the chat. This should be easy, easy. What type of a text is this? So one word, it's what this entire webinar is about. Yes, easy. It's a poem. All right, so we got that. That's done. Nice. Now, the next part to this. Scan it. You don't need to read it from meeting right now. Just take a quick look at each of the stanzas. A stanza is a fancy word for a paragraph in a poem. So take a quick look. There are 3 different stanzas. Are there any words that you do not know? Please type those words in the chat. Aha. Okay, demonade, yes. You guys know all those other words. Okay, now pretend you're one of your students. What words might your students not know? And this is a poem that I would probably give to maybe middle schoolers who are learning English. I think middle schoolers might be able to read this. So what words might your student, yes, fright, wink. Okay, good. All right, so when I looked at this, I also had a few other words that I thought, oh, they might not know these. So here we go. Doorstep, fright, wink, weird, and showed up. So fright, well, you tell me, anybody can write it in the chat. Which of these pictures goes with fright? I should have numbered them. I'm sorry, I didn't. You can just describe the picture, or you can raise your hand and say it to us. The last. Those emojis now, I think. Weird. These guys look a little weird, strange, different. Showed up. Now that's a little trickier to put on here as a picture, but if somebody shows up at your doorstep, this is a doorstep. I have two different pictures. Here's a doorstep. It's just the step that leads up to the door. If you break down the word, it makes sense. Doorstep is the step that leads up to the door. So if somebody shows up at your doorstep, they'll probably be knocking at your door, ringing the bell, doing like trying to get your attention. They want to come into your house or your apartment. Appeared, perfect, yes. Showed up, appeared. And this is your doorstep, that step right before the door. Yes, there you go. You guys are good. You guys are really good. Okay, so we've gone over the words. Now, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put this link in the chat. This is a Jamboard. Have you guys used Jamboard before? Yes, perfect. Okay, so go ahead, click on the link. I know I made it so it was active for you. I want to double check. Yes, anybody can edit. Great. Click on the link, enter it. Click on either the T for the text box or the one that looks like a square, that's a sticky note, and write your answer to this question. What do you know about Halloween? Now I'm activating background knowledge. So what do you know about Halloween? Go ahead and click on either a sticky note or the T for the textbook and write everything and anything that you might know about Halloween. I'll give you a few minutes to do that. So on the left-hand side, somebody's trying to write with their computer. That might be a little bit difficult. On the left-hand side of your screen, you should see, it looks like a pen, an eraser, an arrow, a square, something that has like mountains on it, a circle, and a T within the textbook. If you click on any of those, then if you click on the T for textbook or the sticky note, you can type right on that instead of trying to write with your computer, which might be tricky, a little difficult. I'm gonna just move some of these sticky notes because they always like to go to the same place and they cover each other. All right, maybe one more minute. Okay. Costumes, 31st of October, mask, frightening acts. Okay. One more minute to get any other ideas in there. Ghosts, ah. I'm laughing at the people trying to write on the actual board. Try to use the sticky note or the T with the text box, and then you can type directly into it. It'll be a lot easier for you. Oh, a lot of horror movies. Yes. Sweets. Yes, my favorite. Pumpkins, treats. Trick or treat. Yes, trick or treat, trick or treat. Smell my feet, give me something good to eat. There was a whole little thing that went with that. Okay, so, and then in the chat, somebody had written play trick or treat, which was a thing. Okay, so when is Halloween? We have two different dates up here now. Somebody said the 29th, but a few of you said, I think the 31st. So which is correct? Yes, the 31st. Ooh, you guys are good. It was originally a pagan holiday. Yes, that's in the chat. And it is the 31st. It then became actually a religious holiday. Halloween is actually shortened from All Hallows Eve. So it's the evening of celebrating All Saints Day and All Souls Day in the Christian religion, where you pray for anybody who has passed away. But it was originally a pagan holiday, yes. So a little bit about that. Oh, it's not, November would be, okay, so if we're thinking about November, you might be thinking about Thanksgiving. So that's a little bit different. So that one is not quite right. Yes, people wear costumes and they get dressed up. What do people do with the pumpkins? There's, if you look closely at the sticker, what do people do with the pumpkins? And what do we do with them once that's done? They put a like, they make a face. Yes, yes, they cut it out. We say it's carving the pumpkin. And once you carve the, yes, you guys got it. Once you carve the pumpkin, it now is called a jack-o'-lantern. Yes, yes. And then you put the candle inside of it. Yes. Sometimes people use gourds instead of pumpkins. Anything of those can be Halloweenish. Yes, it's like a mask. Yes. There are a lot of horror movies about this. I don't particularly like horror movies, but there are a lot. Children do wear costumes. They do go out trick-or-treating. What do they get? What does that look like when they go out trick-or-treating? What does that mean to go trick-or-treating? You can either speak. I don't know if you can speak. You can put it in the chat. What does it mean to go? Yes, they get candy. Yes. So children will put on costumes. They will go from door to door they knock on the door, they ring the bell. The person opens, and this is now you have children in costumes on your doorstep. The children will say trick or treat, and then they get their candy. And it's probably my favorite holiday because yes, give a sweet or I play trick on you. I love all that free candy. So I loved Halloween. I still love it because it's all about free candy. Yes, going from door to door, asking for candy. Sometimes people don't have their lights on, and so then you won't get, not to go to that house. Most people don't do the tricks. It's just the saying that we have. But trick or treat, kids are showing up in costumes on your doorstep. You open your door and you give them their candy if they say trick or treat. And then they say thank you and they go to the next door and they run all over the place, all over. Does this happen? Spooky stories? Yes. Do people go trick or treating during the day or at night? When is the time? Yes, in the evening, yes. Many towns nowadays have said no more trick-or-treating after 9 p.m. When I was a child, you could go until whenever, but most people were done by 10. It's dark, it's cold. Yes, I actually, this is my, the Wonder Book, August, like this holiday. Yes, that's actually, I'm glad you read that. So we have haunted houses. There are some people in neighborhoods who will actually make their entire house like a haunted house, and you can go in and go through it. And that's always a lot of fun. It is really a fun holiday. So I chose a poem for us to do. Thank you for sharing. We're going to move on just to make sure we have enough time to get through everything. I chose a Halloween poem because it's almost Halloween. So I wanted to include a little cultural as well as some poem, some reading stuff. So we've done a couple strategies. We've gone over vocabulary before you even read the poem. We've activated background knowledge before you've even read the poem, which is really important. So no matter what I'm doing, I'm going to do activities like this with my students. Let them work in groups. So when we read, I like to ask my students to visualize. It works really well with certain poems. It also works well with certain readings. For other readings, it's more difficult. But I want them to create a picture in their head of what they are seeing. It helps them understand the text. And the reason why I'm focusing on this is because it's what you might just have to do. So as you are reading the text, the poem, and you will do that in just 1 minute, I ask you to please create a picture in your mind of what this might look like. So what we are going to do, you're going to go into breakout rooms. I'm going to give you this link so you can get on the poem, so you can have it while you're in your breakout rooms. Okay, so if you could please open that Google Doc, that is your link to the poem. Oh, hold on, I need to go back one. Okay. These are your instructions. I always like to make things interactive, even especially online. So in your breakout rooms, you will read the entire poem, you will discuss it, and then you have to illustrate the stanza that is assigned to your breakout room. A stanza, again, is just a fancy word for paragraph. So in this poem, there are 3 stanzas or 3 paragraphs. We use that word stanza when we talk about poems. The last piece, create a title for the poem. There is one, but I didn't include it because I like students to and participants to come up with their own. It shows your understanding of this. when you're in your breakout rooms, know who's going to draw. If you can draw, shoot, I was gonna have you draw on the Jamboard. I don't think that'll work. Sorry. I had it for somewhere. So I guess just draw it on a separate piece of paper, or if you could, if you're good with the computer and you can draw something on your computer really quickly, great. But if one person in your group, somebody in your group can draw on a piece of paper to illustrate the stanza that is assigned to you. You need to be able to share that drawing when we return to the full group and explain that illustration, okay? And then your title. So we have to have somebody reading. You want to decide who will draw, who's going to share the drawing and talk about it. So I might draw, but I don't want to talk about it. Somebody else will. And who will also share and explain your title. So that's what needs to happen in your breakout rooms. You have the link to the poem. Was everybody able to get on, open that link to the poem? Yes. And okay, I'm going to create 3 breakout rooms, so they're going to be kind of small. Actually, no, we'll do 2 breakout rooms. So there will only be one, there'll be 2 stanzas. One won't be illustrated. Okay, so I'm going to move to room 1 and I'm going to move to room 2. Okay, so if you're in breakout room 1, you're drawing an illustration for stanza 1. If you're in breakout room 2, you're drawing an illustration for stanza 2. So everybody needs to do this, otherwise we won't have enough. So please join your breakout room, read the poem, and illustrate your stanza. Breakout room 1, stanza 1. Breakout room 2, stanza 2. Off you go.
Hello, Zarina, Mehri. Hello. So you are now here, Mehri, in room number 1. Zarina, can you hear us? Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Zarina.
Yes.
Zarina,
I'm here too.
where are you joining from?
Hello.
Вы себя как сказали, она не это не боится. Она не боится говорить. Ну, мы не знаем, да, что будет на втором этом, но она говорит, I smile when I saw them, I gave them. В чем она не уверена? Что не включила, да?
Formative group, whatever. But they are really good at drawing. And this
I
is
agree.
their chance to shine.
I
So,
agree. It's true.
yeah, but using Google, absolutely 100% acceptable. I probably would have done the same, to be honest.
Well, we tried to see who would do the drawing, but all three of us were really, not into drawing. So then I said, I have an idea. Let's use Google, and I found the images that we're going to use.
Perfect. Then I will, in a minute, I'll stop my share and let you take over. Are you stanza 1 or stanza 2?
Stanza 2, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So we're going to do some sharing, and then we'll talk about that little last thing at the end, which I left out on purpose. So I'm going to stop my share to allow you the opportunity to share. Breakout room 1 was Mary, Zarina, and somebody from EWB, I believe. If you could tell us about your illustration and how it shows your understanding of the first stanza. And yeah, share your title of the poem as well. that would be great. I'm assuming you chose somebody who's going to speak, yes? Aha, we have a photo of it. Let's see if we can open this. Oh, yes.
So the title is for this stanza one is My Halloween Friend.
Okay, nice. And why did you draw this? How does this show us? Oh, very good. Thank you. Perfect. How does this show us? How does this relate to stanza 1?
So so she's both surprised, maybe a little bit scared, but surprised and happy that her Halloween friends have finally arrived. We have the doorstep here. We have the demons, and we have the girl or the boy here just looking at them for a close at the doorstep. So whatever's happening then it's in stanza 2, but in stanza 1 we have this 4 kind of sentences. They came, they're going to frighten me, but I'm happy to see them and I'm not frightened.
Yes, I love it. And is this your title, My Halloween Friend? Is that your title for the poem? Or did you have a different title?
For the whole poem or just for the hour stanza?
If you have one for the whole poem, or if you don't, then just the stanza is fine. No, nothing? That's okay.
Yeah, I think, yes, the whole poem is about welcoming the Halloween demons and not being afraid and accepting them as friends. And yeah, my Halloween friend.
My Halloween Friend. It's a good title. I do really like these demons here. They're very cute.
So the artist is Zuhra.
Ah, well done, well done. You might need to switch careers and go into illustrating. All right, so breakout room 2. That is Fernando, Munavar, Nasiba, and Natia, who is talking, and it sounds like you may have used some images online. Completely
Okay,
acceptable. I did not say you
let's-
couldn't. So go ahead and tell us about your illustration, why you chose what you chose, as well as your title.
Mr. Fernando, please go ahead.
Okay.
You did a great job.
We didn't really think about a title, but I came up, we're doing stanza 2. So I guess that a good title could be Welcome for stanza 2. Now, Ms. Naziba, you're going to read the poem, and as you read, I will try to show the pictures, okay? Ms. Naziba.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Yes.
you start reading the poem, and I'll see if this works. Okay.
So I'll read from the very beginning, right?
Yeah. Yes, you can read from the. Do you see the first picture?
Not really, but I see.
It's not appearing. It's, by the way, it's a mistake. That's not supposed to be the first one. Let me correct this. My God, what did I do? I did something wrong. Okay,
I
good.
can see it.
Yes, but it was not the first one. That was okay. Begin, Miss Nasiba. Begin
Okay.
reading the poem.
Yeah. A couple of demons on Halloween night showed up on my doorstep to give me a fright. I smiled when I saw them. I gave them a wink and handed them each a delicious drink. You might think it's weird, but I was not afraid. When life gives me demons, I make demonade.
Okay.
A lovely poem.
I was very slow. My coordination was terrible. I couldn't, I couldn't organize the photos in the right order, but I think you got the idea. Yes, it was pretty
Good
complex for
job.
me.
Good job.
No, I
Mr.
was
Gibran,
trying
good
to
job.
show the images as Ms. Nasiba was reading out the poem. I only had the images for the stanza 2. So this would be the, let me see if I can share them all now together. It was, I got really confused with the mechanics of what I did here. So these were all the images, right? Here is the smile, the wink, and the drinks. Yeah. Can you see them?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
I can see them.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Very
These
good.
were the images that I thought, right? But I got really mixed up trying to show them at the right time. I
That's
couldn't
it.
follow Miss Nasiba's Ms. Nasiba was reading beautifully, and I got so, lost here that it was
Caught up in the
impossible to
moment.
follow them. Sorry, Ms. Nasiba. Sorry,
Yeah,
Miss.
thank you. You did a great job. You did a great job. Thank you.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Okay, so
I had a lot of fun. That's for sure.
Aha, that's what I want to get. Oh, I'm sharing the picture again. I need to go back to, I do like this picture. I need to go back to this. Okay, so we have a few minutes, just a few. When life gives me demons, I make demonade. How many of you have ever heard, and I would have taught this beforehand. I didn't with you guys because I was wondering if you actually had ever heard the expression, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Yeah, make lemonade. That's the right one, right?
Yes, yes. And what does that expression mean?
If I'm not mistaken, it means that when you're having problems, overcome them, make them happy moments.
Yes, make the best of it.
Make the best of it. There we go.
Make the best of it. So with my students, I would have taught this expression beforehand, given them the idiom, had them use it. With you, I didn't, because I wanted to see if anybody actually knew it. With my students, I would have taught this expression ahead of time. And then this would be a follow-up question. When life gives me demons, I make demonade. So what is the author saying? Is he going to be scared, or is he going to enjoy life?
He's going to enjoy it.
He's going to enjoy it. Yes. Yes. And I think, as Fernando said, he had fun illustrating the poem. I love to have students illustrate any type of reading, and it shows their understanding. If the poem is about unicorn,
can you hear me?
yes.
I would like to share some Halloween activities with everybody. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so for those of you who are taking part in this beautiful webinar, here you have a bunch of activities. You can create a Halloween weekend or Halloween week, sorry, with your students. It's a WeTransfer link with a collection of activities that I have related to Halloween. It has all kinds of stuff, small books, dominoes, board games, you name it. A lot of stuff related to Halloween there.
Perfect. That's great, because honestly, in the United States, there is so much going on with Halloween. It is a big part of the schools. They do like to celebrate it.
Yeah, it's a 1 week thing, it goes on for a week. It's unbelievable,
I love it though. It's a lot of free candy.
Yeah,
So I do want to wrap things up. If you are looking for places to get free online resources, especially with reading and writing, americanenglish.state.gov. You click on resources, click on teaching the 4 skills, you'll find a ton. ReadWorks, he's actually a poet, the poet laureate. So he has won lots of awards and prizes and recognition. All of his stuff on his website is free. I will click on it right now. I hope it opens because I didn't open it beforehand and I should have. They have, one of the things that I really appreciate about his stuff, he has lessons for you already set. So if you say, well, yeah, I liked what Maureen did, but my students aren't at that level yet, or maybe they're beyond that level, don't worry. Go to Poetry for Kids, the number 4. It's all right here. These lessons have everything. Rhyming, writing activities, it's all right here for you. He is amazing. So I really hope that you check out his stuff. It's all free. Another great thing, especially as teachers, free is awesome. So with that, I am wrapping it up and I will hand it back over to, I believe, Nasiba, maybe? I don't know. Yes. And we have a few minutes for questions, I think.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maureen, for such an interesting presentation. And I hope like everyone enjoyed doing these exercises and sharing, the feedback with you. So thank you so much. So dear audience, please, now we have a couple of more minutes to, for a question and answer session. If you have any questions, please, you can unmute yourself or just write a question in the chat box. So I'm just scrolling up and down and I don't see any questions for you, Maureen. I guess like people really enjoyed everything you you showed today. So, okay.
So another poem taught a lot in schools is Shel Silverstein. I just wrote his name. He has a lot of short poems that he's very famous author, poet. So he's another one. His work and Ken Nesbitt's work are very similar. How do we encourage students to read and write poems themselves? There's a month that is dedicated to poetry in the United States. And so we'll do things like poem in your pocket, pull it out, read it. There are acrostic poems that I will have students write their name and then create acrostic poems with it. When they have finished reading something, instead of, it could be a normal text in the book, I'll say, okay, you can illustrate it, you can write a poem about it. The great thing about poems is that they don't have to rhyme. One of my favorite activities to do are list poems where they get to go in groups. I have so many different things. If people want to contact me, here is my email address. Poetry reading, though, is pretty easy because it's short. So students can read the few stanzas and then they feel successful. And once they can read that, then they'll say, oh yeah, I know I can read this, so maybe I can try that harder one. And so just getting them to read the poems, it's successful. And poems don't have to be difficult. This Demons one, it's right up students' alley. So check out Poetry for Kids because Ken Nesbitt has so much great stuff. So yeah. The Tajik poem style is usually words rhyming. Yes, that is a lot of what we have, but not always. So this is another way to introduce students to different types of poems. And in the US, if they want to attend a university in the US, most high school students have had an entire 2 or 3 months studying poetry. And it is a part of what they are expected to know when they go to university. So something for your students thinking more long-term.
I have a question, but I don't know if it's a good question or not.
All questions are good. I
Are
love
there any-
Halloween.
Are there any disadvantages in using poetry in the classroom?
Oh, huh. For
You
me,
see?
yeah. No, that is a good question because I'm certain that somebody could say, yes, there are. I have always had success with them once students have gotten over the, I hate poems.
That's what I was thinking about because I myself, I'm not a poem person. You know what I mean? So
But what
I
about
was
this
like,
one? Did you enjoy this one?
yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. It was fun. The way you showed us the activity was really, really interesting. I think
And
that's the secret, right? How you
yes, and
present it, right?
how you present it, and then choose poems that are fun. They don't have to be serious, but you can move from these fun poems, like the one about demonades and demons, and there's one about school supplies, and there's one about Shel Silverstein has one about what day of the week it is. It's really funny. You can move from that to ones that might show up on an exam that students have to take to get into university.
You know, and I was thinking about something really crazy here. I don't know. I would like to have your opinion about this. Like, for example, a jigsaw poem. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
instead of one person reading the complete poem, some students read part of it, and they could add like emotions. Like one of the readers could be sad, the other one could be angry, the other one could be, I don't know, read too fast or too slow. Would that affect the poem? What do you think?
So that is all great ways to practice pronunciation with it. So I would recommend doing that. In addition, with that jigsaw reading, if you split it up and you gave each group only one stanza, and instead of saying illustrate it, you could say, okay, how are you going to act this out? And then you could have them each act it out. That's something else that I've done. And that incorporates how they pronounce the words. So it'll be very interesting to see people's interpretation of their stanza,
Of the
especially
poem.
when they don't know the entire poem. Lots you can do. Lots you can do. Yeah. But check out Poetry for Kids. And he actually has really good lesson plans on there. So if you can't think of something, he has it for you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maureen, like, for sharing really useful tips. And I'm sure like the teachers will be using them in their class and also, share their feedback with us because it's absolutely true, like, cultivating of reading and like, writing poem in students. It takes time and it also takes creativity of teachers. Yeah. So thank you so much, dear all, and thank you so much, Maureen, for such a wonderful presentation. We all enjoyed it so much, and of course, like, yeah, we'll be looking forward to having more webinars with you in the future. And dear all, thank you for your active participation. And of course, like, we'll be sharing the presentation of Maureen via our website, so you can also just use it afterwards in your teaching practice. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy your evening. And for those who are joining us from different continents, Mr. Fernando, yeah, have a great day ahead. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you all. Thank you, English Without Borders. You guys are amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, dear all. Yeah, wishing all of you to have a great day and great evening. Bye-bye. See you.